Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Do your study with fun. So we are going to learn today three questions, first chapter for class 7th. So let's we begin with this video. The chapter name is three questions. Okay, what is chapter name? Three questions. Let's we begin with this chapter. The thought came to a certain king that he would never fail if he knew three things. These three things were: what is the right time to begin something, which people should he listen to, what is the most important thing for him to do. This paragraph means the chapter name is only three questions. The king, the thought came to a king that he would never fail if he knew these three questions. Okay, these three questions were what these three questions were: what is the right time to begin something, first question. W- which people should he listen to, second question. What is the most important thing for him to do, third question. These three questions he wants to know the answer. So then after, what he did is, the king therefore sent messengers throughout his kingdom. What the king do? He sent messengers throughout his kingdom, promising a large sum of money. Anyone who would answer these three questions. What he did he did that what he did, he sent messengers throughout his kingdom, and he promised a large sum of money who will answer these three questions. Okay, he said this to his messengers, and messengers said to the people. Okay, now what will happen, let me see. Many wise men came to the king, but they only answered his questions differently. So many wise men came to his kingdom, or king, but they answered the questions only differently. What they answered, only differently they answered, right? Then, uh, in reply to the first question, some said the king must prepare a timetable and then follow it strictly. For the first question, what they said, take a what they said take make a timetable. In that timetable, follow the rules correctly and strictly. What they said, make a timetable and follow the rules strictly. They said strictly, right? After that, this is for answer first question. Only in this way, they said, could he do everything at his proper time? And some others said that only in this way. They said, only in this way. Who said that he must prepare time? What they said, only in this way you can do. But the other people said, could he do everything at proper time? Others said, okay, others said, and others said that others said that it was impossible to decide. Others said that it was impossible to decide in advance the right time for doing something. And others said that it was impossible to decide in advance the right time for doing something. Okay. The king should notice all that was going on, avoid foolish pressures. Okay. What did others said that? Uh, they said they said that um, it was impossible to decide in advance the right time for doing something. The king should notice all that was going on. The king was noticing, and and avoid foolish pressures, and always do whatever seemed necessary at the time. Then others said that avoid foolish pressures, always do whatever seemed necessary that time at that time. Okay. Yet others said that the king needed the counsel of a wise man who would help him act the proper time. Yet others said that he needed a council. What do you mean by council? A group of a people chosen to give advice or make rules. So who make rules for king? They are called council. Okay, of wise man. What they said? Others said he needed a council and of wise men who needed help him act at the proper time. Help him act at the proper time. This was because one man would find it impossible to decide correctly. This because one man would find it impossible to decide correctly without help from others the right time for every action. Without help from others, they cannot do the right time for every action. Okay, now, but then others said that there were some things which should be urgent. But others said that there others said that there were some things which should be urgent. Which should be urgent. These things could not wait for the decision of council. This these things would for not these things would for would not for decision of the council. Okay, in order to decide the right time for doing something, it is necessary to look into the future. It is necessary to look into the future, and only magician could do that. Who can do this? Only magician. Other people said. Till here we learned that for the first question, what we learned for the first question we learned in the first question we learned that the king was told that to know about the right time to do something, he had to see the future. For that, he would need the help of magicians. What he would need the help of magician for the first answer. In the second answer, we are going to see here in the answer to the second question. Some said the people most necessary to the king were his councillors. So, what some people said that it is necessary to have a councillors. Councillor means members of council, and others said the priests. A few others chose the doctors, and yet others that his soldiers were the most necessary. What did the some people said councillors, some people said prisons, and some people said doctors, and some people were soldiers were most necessary, they said, right? Most necessary, they said. To okay, these were the second answer. Then what is second answer, right? This were this what did the second question answer? The second answer were in the answer to the second question, the answers were varied people like councillors, priests, doctors, and soldiers were named as the most important people, right? In the second question answer. Then what is the third question answer? We will see now. The third answer were the third question. Some said science, others choosing fighting, and yet others religious worship. So, in the third answer, was the third answer? In the answer to the third answer, science, fighting, and religious worship were considered as the most important things to do. Right now, what did the king do? As the answers to his questions were so different, all questions for answers were different only. Right, in the uh, first answer were different, second answer were different, third also is different. All right, third also is different, second, the first three questions also is different, right? And the king was not satisfied and gave no reward. Instead, he decided to seek the advice of certain hermit who was widely known of his thing, wisdom. So what did the king do? He gave any reward to a wise man? No. One won any reward as the answers were varied, and the king was not satisfied, right? Till here you understood, I think so. And what he decided to seek advice. Instead he decided to seek the advice of a certain hermit. What do you mean by hermit? A person who lives alone and leads a simple life. A person who lives alone and leads a simple life is called hermit, is known as hermit, who was widely known for his wisdom. Decided this? King decided. The hermit lived in a wood which he never left. He saw no one but simple people, and so the king put on ordinary clothes. Okay, now what did the king do? The hermit lived in. Sorry. What did hermit? Where he lived? He lived in a wood. He lived in wood which he never left, and he saw no one but simple people, and so the king wear his dress, ordinary clothes he wear. Before he reached the hermit's hut, the king left his horse with his bodyguard and went alone. What did the king do? He left his horse with his bodyguard, and he went alone to hermit's house. As the king came near the hermit's hut, he saw the hermit digging on the ground in front of his house. What did the king do? He was near the hermit's hut. He saw that hermit was digging the ground in front of his house, in front of his hut. He greeted the king and continued digging. What he did, hermit? What did hermit did? He greeted the king and continued digging. The hermit was old, weak, and as he worked, breathed heavily. So, what the hermit was old and weak, like uh, um, above 60 years, they will be old, right? They cannot stand up. They can walk, stand, sit, but some other um, old ones they can't, right? So he was weak and worked, and he breathed heavily. So how do athletics breathe when they run faster? Like this, they will breathe, right? When they run fast, right? Like that, he was breathing when he was digging. The king went up to the hermit and said, "I have come to you, wise hermit." What did the king said? What did the king say? King went up to the hermit and said, "I have come to you, wise hermit, to ask you the answer to the three questions. How can I learn to do the right thing at the right time? Who are the people I need most, and what affairs are the most important?" Said the king. "What do you mean by affairs? Affairs are nothing but things, matters, and business. Okay, affairs are things, matters, and business." What he said, the king said like this, but hermit listened to the king, but he did not speak. What did the hermit do? He listened, but he did not speak. Right? He went on digging. "You are tired." What What the king said? "You are tired," said the king. "Let me take spade and work in your place." What did the king said? "You are tired, hermit. I will dig up. Give me spade. Give me spade," he said. What did the hermit say? "Thanks." Giving the giving the king his spade, then he sat down on the ground. What he did do? He gave the spade. The spade means? It is which is like this. See here. This is spade. We can see here the spade. This is the spade which is in hermit's hand. He is the hermit. The blue colored dress, and the red colored dress was king. Okay. This is the spade, you know that now. What he the hermit said, thanks. And what he do? Then he sat on the ground. Okay. Okay. Now, when the king had dug two beds, he stopped and repeated his question. And now, what did the king dug up? Two beds. Beds means small patches of the ground for plants. Patches means beds means the this is the ground. You think okay? This is the ground which I'm coloring from green, and this is a patches of plants. Side the green color will be there. No, that is called patch beds. Okay. And he repeated what he did to king. He repeated his question. The hermit gave no answer, but he stood up, stretching his out hands for the spade, and said, now you rest, let me work. Then what did the hermit say? He did not talk a one word also. And what did he do? Stretching out his hand for the spade and said, now you rest and let me work, said the hermit. But what did the king do? King said that, not give me the spade, and no, not I will not give the spade, and I will only work, and continued digging. The king said. Then how many hours passed? 1 hour passed. How many hours? 1 hour passed. Then other. The sun went down behind the trees. Where the sun went? Behind the trees, the sun went. And at the last, king stuck the spade into the ground and said, I came to you, wise man, for an answer to my questions. What did the king said? I came to you, wise man, because I want answer to these three questions, said the king. If you can give me no answer, let me go. Let me return my home, said the king. Right? Here comes someone running. What did the hermit said? Here comes someone running. Next. What did the hermit said? Here comes someone running. Now this is a comparison check. So okay, why did the king want to know answers to the three questions? Why? Because he know this all three questions means. He know the three questions means he would never fail. Okay, this is the first answer. He would never fail if he knew these three questions. Messenger were sent throughout the kingdom to fetch wise man, or to find out to the answer questions, to look for wise man, to announce reward who was the second one is correct answer. Okay. You got first answer also and second also question answer also you got. Now let we move to the second part. This is the second part of the chapter. So okay, let's we start second chapter. The king turned round and saw a bearded man running towards them. So what did the king do? He turned back and saw a bearded man running towards them. His hands were pressed against his stomach, from which blood was flowing. When he reached the king, he fainted and fell to the ground. Who was there? At king's back, a bearded man. His hands were pressed on his stomach. When our stomach pain will come, we will say, "Amma." We will put our hands on our stomach, right? Like that, the bearded man was against his stomach, and the blood was flowing. And when he reached the king, he fainted. Fainted means lost conscious. Like he when we see something will scare us, then we will conscious no, like that. Fainted and fell on the ground. He he lost conscious and fell on the ground. The king and the hermit. What did the king and hermit did? See, this is the conscious. What he did here, who is your bearded man? The sleeping one. This bearded man was back of king, and what did back of his king, and coming running that what he did, he take his hand against his stomach, and and he lost his, what he lost his conscience, right? Okay, let me read now this. What did the king do and hermit do? King and hermit do? Removed the man's clothing and found a large wound in his stomach. What they found, he after removing his cloth, and what he found? He found wound in his stomach, a large wound. The king washed and covered it with his handkerchief. What did the king do? He washed and covered the handkerchief, but the blood would not stop flowing. What the blood was doing? It was not flowing. It was not stop flowing. The king he redressed the wound until at the last bleeding stopped. What do you mean by redressed? Dressed again. He dressed again, and until the bleeding stopped. Okay, the man felt better and asked for the something to drink. What did the man, bearded man, do? He asked for something to drink. The king brought fresh water and gave to him. And what did the king do? Um he do he brought fresh water to him for drinking. By this time the sun had set, and the air was cool. Now what happened this time? The sun had set, and the air was cool, right? The king with the hermit's help carried the wounded man into the hut, and and laid him on the bed. The man closed his eyes and lay quiet. The king, tired but his walk and the work he had done, lay down on the floor, and slept throughout the night. When he awoke, it it was several minutes before he could remember. Okay, the what the bearded man was like that. Where did the king slept? On the floor he slept, right? And where he was, or who the strange bearded lying on the bed was. Forgive me, said the bearded man in a weak voice, when he saw the king was awake. So forgive me, who said this? The bearded man said in weak voice. I do not know, you have nothing to forgive you for, said the king. I don't know. I do not know you and have nothing to forgive you for. Say, who said this? The king said. You do not know me, but I know you. Who said the bearded man. You don't know me, but I know you. I am the enemy of yours who swore revenge on you because you put my brother to death and seized my property. Seized means took by force, and whom and seized his property. I knew you had gone alone to see that hermit, and I made up my mind to kill you on your way home. But they passed. You did not return. So I left my hiding place and came upon your bodyguard, who disarmed me and worked wounded. What he what he do, said the enemy, who bearded man was king's enemy, right? And what he did, the enemy who swore revenge on him because he put his brother to death and seized his property. And he knew that I'm gone alone, hermit, alone to see the hermit, and I made up my mind to kill you. You're on your way home, but they passed. Said the who's saying this? The bearded man saying this. Said the said the bearded man. So he left his hiding place, and I came upon return. So I left his hiding place, and I come on upon your bodyguard, who resourced my wounded, who was wounded by who. I'm sorry, bodyguard. Sorry, this bearded man was wounded by king's bodyguard. Okay, wounded, but I escaped from but I should have died if you not dressed my wounds. I wish to kill you, and you have saved my life, said the bearded man. Now if I live, I will serve you, your most faithful servant, and will order my sons to do the same. Forgive me, said the bearded man. Right? The king was very happy to make peace with enemy so easily and to have won him over as a friend. He not forgave him but said he would send his servants and his own doctor to look after him and promised to give him the back the man his property. What did the king do? He promised give back the man his property, and what he sent his servants and his doctor to look after him. Okay. Okay, now the leaving the wounded man, and the king went out of the hut and looked around the hermits. Before going, he wished once more to get answers to his questions. The hermit on his knees sowing seeds in the beds the, that he had been dug up day before. The king went up to the hermit and said, for the last time, I beg you to answer questions, wise man. And what did the king do? For the last time, I beg you to answer my questions, wise man. Okay? Then, you have already been answered, said the hermit, still bending down the ground, and looking at the king stood before him. How have I been answered? What do you mean? Do you not see? Replied the hermit. What replied the hermit? If you had to pitied my weakness yesterday and I not dug this piece for me, you would have gone away. Then that man would have attacked you, and you would have wished and stayed with me. So the most important time was when you were digging the beds, and I was the most important man. And to do me good and your most friend to us, the most important time was when you are caring for him. Because if you had not dressed his wound, he would have died without having made him peace with you. So he was the most important man, and what you did for him was most important business. Remember then, there is only one time that is important, and that time is now. It is the most important time because it it is the only time we have any power to act. The most necessary person is the person you are with a particular moment, for no one knows what will happen in the future, and whether we will meet anyone else. The most important business is to do the person good, because we sent into the world of purpose alone. I, the story written by Leo Tolstoy, retold. Now I think you understand this. What is the most important time? Now was the most important time. Most necessary person was a particular moment, for no one's will happen in the future. Whatever will meet anyone else. The most important business for the do that the person good, because he were sent to his world for purpose alone. Thank you for watching this video. Please सब्सक्राइब लाइक शेयर करेंगे. ये वीडियो आपको पसंद आया होंगे मुझे अब सॉरी. So please subscribe, like, share. I'm telling to you two times. Thank you for watching this video.